All right, ladies and gentlemen, just found out that tomorrow we have a little 2-hour delay action because it's going to be cold. Wear a hat. Even after 2 hours, it's still going to be cold. But anyways, so we've talked about price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, cross price elasticity of demand. The last one we're going to do is the elasticity of supply here, the price elasticity of supply. So all we do is we measure, or we look at how the change in price affects the change in the quantity supplied. Notice the only difference here is that the curves are sloping differently. These ones here are relatively inelastic and relatively elastic supply curves. But the perfectly inelastic supply curve looks just like a perfectly inelastic demand curve. Same thing for perfectly elastic. So the idea works exactly the same. And you can use the midpoint method to calculate these just like you would with the price elasticity of demand. And so the formula looks like this. You can record it on your slideshow part of your packet. It's just the percent change in quantity supplied over the percent change in price. So instead of it being, a QD that you're looking at, it's a QS. Again, quantity on top. So it's not quail delicacies, but it's like quail succulent things. I don't know. But quantity always goes on top here. And again, if you look, the way it works out is perfectly inelastic is at 0, perfectly elastic is undefined, and then everything else falls in between those two things, with one being unit elastic. Now, the question is, what the heck? How can we apply this stuff here? So you have this sheet here, but you need to fill in, and I kind of wish I had hidden these, but elasticity of supply, we just talked about this, I'm not reading it again. But what could be inelastic? What could have a supply curve that's pretty inelastic? Well, beachfront houses work beautifully, because imagine if you want to supply. Oh, sorry, forgot I had a touch screen there. I was cleaning off my monitor. If you wanted to supply beachfront houses, what do you need? You need beachfront property, and there's but so much beach that you can build houses on. There's just so much of it. You go down to Ocean City, there's only so much land that is available, regardless of the price, to build beachfront houses. You just cannot build more. I was listening to something today. Maybe you could think of the supply of airline tickets or seats on a jet is pretty inelastic, right? There's however many seats the airline can supply on that. Carter's texting me about his homework. Anyways, but there's so many seats on a jet that you can purchase. The fact that the price is higher for those seats does not make the quantity of supply any bigger or any smaller. The jet is the same size. But there are some things that we can really pretty easily change the quantity of supply. So anything that you can really produce in a factory works pretty well for having a pretty elastic supply curve. If you want to produce more books, if the price of books goes up, you can run the printing presses for an extra hour. You can extend the work hours a little bit, pay people more overtime, relatively inexpensively or relatively easily, let's say. Same thing with car production. That's not too tricky. You can do that. But notice the same rule applies that applied with our demand, elasticity of demand. If you get more time, you get more elasticity. Think about this for a second. Beachfront houses. I think in Dubai. Well, they had but so much beachfront property, so what'd they do? They made more. They made man-made islands so that you could have beachfront property. So I guess you could build your own island or build your own peninsula into the ocean and get yourself more beachfront property, and hence more beachfront houses. It would be difficult, but it could be done. So this is the idea behind the elasticity of supply. I don't know that I've ever seen a question come upon a free response anyways. Maybe they show up in the multiple choice, but this is a pretty if you know the generalities of how the beach, sorry, if you know the generalities of kind of the idea behind the beachfront houses and being able to ramp up productivity pretty easily here in the Elastic, you'll do all right. And as long as you have that kind of sound understanding of the relationship and so the numbers that you're going to get when you use your formula, you'll be pretty good. Now you have page 525 again, I think. Page 525. Now you can do number 6, I believe it is. Yep. Now you can do number 6, where it's going to ask you about the price elasticity of supply and whether or not it is perfectly inelastic or perfectly elastic, and it's going to give you some scenarios to ponder. Why don't you go look at those right now? And so you're going to explain a little bit. You can draw a picture if you want. You can use words. I'm flexible there. Also, this kind of concludes our segment on elasticity. So there is page 3 now. So you should be able to do pages 2 and page 3 in your packet. And then after that, we will get on to, I believe, taxation is coming up next. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, please, please, please contact me. You hit me up on Edmodo. You have my phone number. You can email me. I wouldn't make all those things available to you if I didn't want to help you. So please, if you need any help, let me know. All right? Best of luck.